Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Leaders Live, and I'm Andrew Jenkins, and this is a short countdown timer to help the various live feeds. And we've got a lot of live feeds at the moment, and they all need to catch up and settle down with each other. So that's where we're heading, and we're just making sure that my live feed's coming up as well, and the comments are coming up and everything. And we can't wait for today's groovy show, folks. We can't wait. We've got 2 people on live already, so there we go, and it's building. There we go, and we're on. Lovely. That's LinkedIn's caught up with us, which is brilliant. Just turn down the volume. Fantastic. Okay, so our theme today is, well, we'll be hanging out with the amazing, multi-talented Matias Sørevik this morning, new startup, social entrepreneur at Matias Global Leader, digital nomad, actor, filmmaker, musician, ardent Man United supporter. Brilliant. And our theme today is tomorrow's world, growing young people into our new leaders. Ooh, that deserves a ooh. So yeah, that's where we're heading. And hi Matias, give us a quick wave.
Hiya, how's nice?
Oh, brilliant, great, yeah, all good. And helping us to engage this morning is the lovely Birdie Hugo, our fabulous moderator, chipping in, and she'll be keeping the interaction flowing, folks. So say a quick hello to us, Birdie. Oh no, in a moment.
I'll say good morning in a second.
Indeed. Lovely. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed our groovy jingle. Yeah, short little jingle from Your DMS. And we are delighted that we are powered and sponsored by Your DMS, our Leaders Live sponsor. Yay, we're so excited about that. And more on Your DMS as we go through the show, folks. So, yeah, the many talents of Matias, absolutely. So, oi people, it's Leaders Live showtime, folks. It's just after 8:45 here in the UK, and we are live, spreading the love, folks, spreading the love. Yabba dabba do. And we're live on many channels at the moment. So, and if you're new to Leaders Live and you don't know me, as I mentioned in the countdown time, I'm Andrew Jenkins, and Leaders Live is an interactive, dynamic, weekly talk show that generates business through networking, community, and extraordinary conversations that inspire. And our motto here is I to the power of we. So we're streaming out on LinkedIn, we're streaming out on Facebook groups, Facebook pages, Facebook profiles, all sorts of things, Twitter, Twitch, ta-da. And we are also streaming out on Your DMS's company page, and also on my brand new Leaders Live website as well, which Birdie will put in the feed. So, and if you like what you see and you want to say thank you for all the effort that we put into this show, you can buy me a coffee too, folks, on buymeacoffee.com/Leaders Live. And when you do, you get a bit of a shout out. It kind of looks a bit like this, if I can do a quick test. It kind of goes like that. It's just so cool. And thanks to Laurie for buying me a coffee last week, and good morning to Zoe here. Fantastic to see you from Algeria. Fantastic. Okay, so folks, this is an interactive show, and as I've said, so please get involved, join in, ask questions, network with a live community, and even a little friendly banter, folks. And for you regulars, lead the way, show how we roll, and smash those likes too, folks. We'd really appreciate that. That keeps us motivated. And please follow our company page on LinkedIn and subscribe to our Leaders Live YouTube community for all updates. And all that lot will be in the LinkedIn comments chat field. So, phew, put it all together. What have we got? Bibbidi, bobbidi, boo. So let's bring in our Leaders Live guest. This morning we have the wonderful Matias Sørevik. How are you doing, Matias?
Oh, thank you so much, Andrew. Yeah, I'm doing fine. It's just past 9:45 here in Norway. We're 1 hour ahead of you, so it's in the morning, but I'm grand.
Yeah, so Norway, the beautiful Norway. You are a very lucky man.
Cheers.
Yeah, So Matias is on a mission to help develop our young people to become tomorrow's leaders, as the very future of our planet is at stake, folks, and therefore their preparation must start right now. And but can we give them the smarts, the tools, and the opportunities to as many young people as possible to help them in this 11th hour? Oh, so that's where we're heading. So kick us off, Matt. Where are we heading? Give us a flavour of where we're going, Matt.
Oh, that's a very good question, Andrew. What can I say? So, what I'm going to talk about is basically leadership as a tool to solve tomorrow's problems. And I'm training particularly youngsters, so teenagers. That's my target group at the moment. And I also expand to young adults in their 20s and so on. But of course, all those skills I'm teaching are transferable also to adults. That's the main thing. That's what
Okay.
leadership is. It's quite transparent.
So you're using the leadership attributes and sort of training methods for adults and turning those into skills that teenagers can grasp and understand as well. Is that correct, Matias?
Indeed.
Indeed. Okay. And interesting. What's different about and morning, Jack Wright, and Jack's the director of your DMS sales director, and he's really keen on coaching young people. So this is a subject that's really close to his heart as well. So what's different about coaching young people than it is to adults? What's the kind of what are the nuances and differences there, Matias, that you're finding?
Yeah, it depends all on who you are coaching. To be honest, Andrew, I would say young people in general, they are more open to hear different opinions.
Yeah.
I would say this keeps on. I would say till you're in your 40s, you may have more experience, and you're not just gonna accept what people are gonna tell you. Like you may be wrong. You may say, no, I have more experience. I am right in that sense. But then younger people, they're much more open, and I'm always impressed when I'm speaking with youngsters. They have so many knowledges and more about ICT than I do myself these days. And I grew up with Facebook and those things, and they're much more transparent, in my opinion, and maybe perhaps a bit more solution oriented.
I like that. So more open, more transparent, more solution oriented. Okay, thank you for that. That's useful. So you've got a question to kick us off, Matias. If you've got that question handy, what's the question you'd like to ask the audience to get the audience interacting with us a little bit?
Yeah, I think we had it in the
We did. I'll find it for you if you're struggling to get hold of it, Matt. Okay, so what Matias's question?
Put it in the chat for you.
Oh, lovely. So, what are your thoughts on the current school system when it comes to developing tomorrow's leaders? I think was that one. Okay, so what are your thoughts? Yeah, there it is. It's in the chat. So there's a slight delay in the feed. So please just interact with us about what are your thoughts on the current school system when it comes to developing tomorrow's leaders. I've got my own thoughts on that as well. So the delay in the feed. So we'll come back to that in a minute, and I'll come back to you in just a tick as well, Matt. So just a quick one on where are we? There we go. So on our fantastic moderator, I briefly mentioned Berdine in the countdown, and over to you to say a little bit more, Berdine.
Good morning, everyone. Now you can all hear me properly, first of all. Secondly, I think Matias, I've got my own prejudices against, the school system and how they work and how they go to work. My mom is a teacher for juveniles, so I understand the whole concept completely.
Yeah.
But I think it's very interesting to, start off with adolescents as they still in that, I almost want to say identity crisis. So they're still trying to find themselves. And I think that's also why they're more open-minded towards, certain aspects of learning instead of adults being more closed off, especially early adulthood. You just start closing off because you feel like you've found who you are and there's nothing else anyone can do to assist you to grow further. So as a person. So I think it's very interesting to start off with the adolescents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wise
thank you
words,
so much,
Birdie.
Ivana.
Yeah. Sorry, Matias.
No worries.
Yeah, I know, wise words coming from Berdine. I like, yeah, finding our identity. I love that. And Maria Jeffs has just joined us. Good morning. And Maria has got two children, and I think so has Matt, if not 2 or 3. I can't quite remember. But yeah, it'd be interesting to hear your views as well on what you think of the school system when it comes to developing tomorrow's leaders, folks. Just before we jump back into the show, yeah, also, we have our 5-minute interlude slot on Leaders Live again today, folks, called Your DMS, Get to Know You in 5, where we briefly feature a regular on the show, and so we'll get to know each other a little bit more each week. And this week we've got, we're showcasing a new recent regular contributor, Simon Birchall. And Simon is a highly experienced MD at Timeware UK Limited, specialising in sort of biometrics, time and attendance, equipment and software and workforce management, I think. Those kind of subjects. That's the wrong one I meant to say. Ooh, there we go. So Simon will be joining us live during the short halfway intermission. So, we'll also shout out our fabulous sponsor, Your DMS, as well at that time, just so you know. Right, okay, so over back to Matias again. Let's bring Matias in. So, Matias, just before you begin, let me just, where are we? Let's just give you a round of applause. Feel the love, Matt, feel the love. Hope you like the groovy build-up. So, Matias, you asked the audience a question. Let's start with that. Have we got anything? I'm not sure if we've got anything in the comment yet. Oh, okay. Let me just bring Berdine back up again. Where is she? There we go. Okay. So Maria Jefferson.
We're still waiting.
3 kids. Yeah.
We're still waiting for people to respond to the question. Are you guys scared of responding to that question? I can give you my own prejudices against it. To answer your question there, Matias, I feel like, the school system doesn't really prepare people for the world out there. They need that little bit extra. They like to put you in this little box. You have to do this, you have to perform academically, you have to also perform in sport-related activities. So you need to find that balance, and I don't think they always get it just right.
Lovely, beautiful.
So I think that's one of the things. But we're getting comments now. Yeah. So I broke the ice. Yay.
Well done breaking the ice. So what have we got then, Berdine?
Maria Jeffers said a huge focus on grades in my children's school. They produce fantastic results in GCSE and A levels. However, now that I'm so very aware of the importance of our mental toughness and how important it is to be present, having a purpose, I'm starting to internally question our choice of school. Yeah. That's where I'm also hating Maria. That's the same.
Interesting.
We've got the same thought patterns.
Yeah. Snap.
Yeah. Jack said, my thoughts are they don't teach young people about the real world. Definitely. Maths and English are important, but real life stories from teacher, sports coach, from someone they respect can really help with mental health and preparing them for the life in school and out of school.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm just.
Yeah,
really
and then
reading
Paul
that.
said,
lovely.
Great question.
In my opinion,
IMO schools schools are missing or misrecognizing leaders as disruptive.
Yeah, and Jack agrees with that. What say you, Matt? Where are you coming from with this? This was your question, so what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I will share my thoughts. I would say for many people, the school can be a brilliant way to get somewhere, even though I would say the system, at least more from my experiences in Norway, obviously I can't answer for England, but I also lived in Ireland for many years, and it seems to me like the school system, it's really focused on the curriculum. It's about achieving grades. It's not really allowed for students to think outside the box. Yeah. That's what I think it prevents loads of creativity, and also because they're taught those habits from such an early age, then thinking like this when they're becoming adult as well, and such thinking, no, I have to fit into the box, and no, I can't say that because that's not what they want to hear, and those things. And when you bring those habits into adult life, you will see limited opportunities, I would say, and also because you're afraid to speak up and stand up for yourself.
Yeah, interesting. And I think there's a massive focus on left brain activities, isn't there, on things that have to be done, and maths and English, as we've touched on, and all the usual subjects. But there seems to be very little time given to the school system to help people to use their right brain, their creative elements of who they are and how to lead, etc. It's more about performance, isn't it? Individual performance, and maybe competition at sport and things like that, and who can get the best grade, and it's grade and measurement, isn't it, rather than expression and creativity. Perhaps maybe that's something that's missing. And when it comes to leadership, I think and maybe you've got some thoughts on this, Matt, that tomorrow's leaders have to be much more creative in their thought processes. What say you, Matt?
Yeah, and I also say, in addition to being creative, should also be collaborative. Something I'm focusing on. I don't know if you're familiar with the classic leadership versus management picture.
Oh,
so
yes.
you have
Hang on, I've got
manager.
that, I think. Yeah.
You can just
Is it something like this? Is that the one? Right. Yeah.
So you can see at the bottom there, the guy in red, that's the managers. That's the employees being below him, and the manager, he's being in control. He's creating strategies, he's executing, and he's focusing on having the work done within KPIs in time.
Yeah.
Then on top, you have the leader on the other hand. It's more about what's happening within the team, how the leader is
Being
able
part
to
of the team
empower and make people collaborate to have the work done. And if you see the difference, the leader, he's in front, and he's also contributing to having the work done.
Yeah. And there's the difference. And that's all about the collaboration and cohesion, isn't it? Peace and to do that, you've got to have some very good soft skills, right? And you've got to be well developed to be able to do that kind of thing, because otherwise you default because of our school systems and because of our business systems. Really, we default to the bottom one, and it seems obvious, doesn't it, to do the top one, but we need skills to do that, right, Matt? Is that?
Yeah, exactly. One of my friends at Trinity College, she said it quite well. You can have management without leadership.
Yeah.
And then you can't have leadership without management. Just kind of have to find that balance between those things. You need to have a strategy, but you must also use your soft skills into empowering those around to make it a great experience for everyone.
I like that, the balance. So a good leader has a balance of some of the management aspects, but as well as leadership aspects as well. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, super. And I'm just looking at your second question here. You had another question for us. So you might have you got access to your second question, or do you want me to say that for you?
Hey, please go on ahead.
Yeah, no problem. So, Matias, his second question for us was: have you heard of the term social entrepreneur, and what do you think it might mean? And I'm sure that Matias will reveal more about this and its links to leadership as we go along. But for now, have you heard of the term social entrepreneur, and what do you think it might mean? And just while we're doing that, I'm just going to I know Berdine's typing that away, so I'm just going to go back to the comments a minute while Berdine's doing that. So Maria Jeffers says, schools need to teach children more about relationship. Oh, yeah, wise words, Maria. Being okay with failure. Oh, hey, Maria, you're on it today. Yeah, spot on, Maria, and tackling our fears. Yeah, wonderful. Maria also horse jumps, and some of those skills she takes to do horse jumping. It takes a lot of courage to get over those big fences. So yeah, and she sees that in her children as well. So yeah, and over to you, Berdine. What else is going on in the chat?
Jack said, he just responded to Maria's comment there. He said, Maria, I say to my under 15 football team that you have to fail in order to learn. Their faces at first were confused, but they are now recognizing failure, and as a result, won the league last year.
Wow. Okay, so let's just bring that up again. Yeah. So yeah, under 15 football team that you, yeah, you have to fail in order to learn. Wow, yeah, and that's a big thing for a
Yes.
team, right? And at first we're confused, but they are now recognizing failure as a wow, that is really great. And as a result, they won the league last year because they learned from failure. How interesting. So yeah, sometimes we have to allow young people to fail, right? And that's really interesting. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Jack. Wow, I like that. Now, who's this, Birdine?
It is Mr. Gardain.
Oh, Mr.
So Guy said,
Gardain's. Yeah.
the only things I enjoyed about my school years, the discipline, English literature, sport, teamwork, friendships, and a few very cool teachers. Boarding school, by the way.
Yeah. So, guy's from South Africa, but he's also a big sports person,
Mm.
and I think you spent a lot of your youth, if I'm not incorrect, Guy, sport doing. Yeah, he's got sport there and teamwork. I think rugby and football and
Mm.
things like that were big for him, particularly rugby, and I think he's also ex-army as well. So great to have you on the show again, Guy. Brilliant. Okay, super. So this term social entrepreneur, let's pick up on that for a minute and let's get going on that. And just a quick interlude. Our get to know you in 5 guests, Simon Birchall's arrived in the green room. We've got you. We're just going to keep you in the green room for now until we're ready, Simon. Then we'll pick you up. Okay, just so you know. So let's pick up on this social entrepreneur theme, Matias. So what is a social entrepreneur? How does this link to young people, and how does it link to leadership development? Take it away for us.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Andrew. So, social entrepreneurship, I think you'll find different definitions wherever you are looking. However, I would say a social entrepreneurship. There's an entrepreneurship in a sense that you are trying to sell items or services, such as different from charities, which are focusing solely on creating good for society. So social entrepreneurship, they are indeed commercial. They would like to make money through their activities and make a living from doing this. But I would say the difference from, how can I say it in a nice way here, traditional entrepreneurship. That is, if you're a social entrepreneurship, your items or services that you sell is also going to contribute to create good things for society. And I also done some preparations here for Leaders Live. Just to give you an example.
Mm.
Yeah, this cafe in Scotland is called the Social Bite, which is a brilliant example.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's basically homeless people. They're being allowed to work in this cafe to make a living. And through doing this, when customers are purchasing the food, they're also giving a wage to those homeless people and also an opportunities to get themselves a home.
Yeah. So it's like value driven organizations, purpose driven organizations that want to make a difference, not just to the people that are working in the business and earning money and making a profit and living, but actually also that profit then doing something to society, making the world better, right? Matias, is that what you're suggesting?
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
So, Andrew, I can also add social entrepreneurships. They may focus on what they call the triple bottom line. So then you have the 3P. So you have the profit, which is also traditional entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Then you also have the planet, focus more on sustainability.
Like
And then
that.
also the people being involved. I would
Lovely.
say, through my own entrepreneurship, I'm focusing on the last P, on the people.
Yeah. And that when you focus on the people, that they can then focus on the planet, or and sustainability and the big responsibilities that young people will have to take over that mantle, right, of a world that they're taking over and having to then deal with in the 11th and a half hour, before everything goes to pieces, essentially, potentially, if you believe the sustainability theory. And yeah, interesting. I like the idea of making a difference in the world around us. I think that's really powerful. That matters. Really powerful, and having some purpose that is beyond just, making money and, profit's important. Yeah, I get it. But equally is contributing and giving back to society is what you're saying, but doing it in a commercial setting, right? Very
exactly.
interesting. Yeah, love that. And not just giving away a small percentage to charity, but having something really important to recognise and to work towards, like that Scottish cafe you were talking about.
Yeah, I also have a brilliant example in USA. I don't know if you're familiar with Tom's shoes. That was founded because the founder, he was on a journey in Latin America, and
Yeah.
they noticed, unlike the USA, everyone weren't so lucky they were having shoes on their feet. So he decided he wanted to solve this problem. So if you buy a pair of shoes, true, some shoes, you're giving them money, but you're also, for each pair you're buying, giving one free pair away to people needing shoes in Latin America and other poor countries.
Oh,
So
that's
through his
lovely.
business, he's also solving a problem and a mission by giving everyone shoes.
Love that. I like the approach of solving a problem, serving a world problem, solving an important problem. And that's where the purpose driven sort of business life comes from here, then, isn't it? It's really interesting. And that's what you're terming, or is termed, social entrepreneur. I never knew that. That's a whole new world for me. So, Berdine, there's a new phrase for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. So, quickly, what's going on in the chat before we move on, Berdine? Just so that we can keep these.
Okay, I'm just going to pick it up here. So before you explain social entrepreneurship, Matias, Cecile asked the question, is an entrepreneur not social?
Let's answer
But I
that
think
now.
you perfectly...
I think you did. I think you perfectly answered that.
Yes, you have. Maria said, Jack, right, yes, once kids know they are psychologically safe to fail and that it's part of learning, they will relax and get into the zone.
Oh, yeah, spot on. I like that. There was an experiment done with simple experiment, MBA students against a group of school kids. Okay, and it was simply to build something like a tower or something like that, or something out of Lego that had to move or do something. And interestingly, the MBA students, which had all the brains and all the smarts, actually did really poorly in this experiment. And the reason for that was that they felt, they weren't psychologically safe, essentially, and they were unable to build trust with one another because they were taught to compete against each other. The MBA world is very much about competition, businesses eating businesses, etc. And so they kept their powder dry for themselves and didn't collaborate at all, where the young people had none of that and were able to create a socially safe environment where the children flourished. And they absolutely beat the MBA students hands down in this experiment. It's a well-known experiment, and you just kind of think, wow, isn't that amazing? And it just goes to show how the importance of psychological safety and what that actually means for young people, well, anybody actually, to create something of difference and make a difference in the world.
Yeah, the spaghetti challenge.
Yes.
I've seen this one. It's
Yeah.
a brilliant one. I think the guys in kindergarten were doing the best.
Yeah, totally, because they haven't got all the constructs that we've superimposed on top of things, and they've still got that creative element, and they just get on and sort stuff out, and everybody in the team does something and contributes. Brilliant, yeah. What else is going on in the chat, Birdie?
Right. Paul said, if you're not failing, you're not pushing hard enough.
Well done.
Yeah, spot on.
I agree with that.
Yeah, Paul, he's had a tough journey very recently, and he's had to face some really difficult stuff, and still going through it, Paul. So well done. And sometimes we have to take the high road means that it's a tough journey, isn't it? And probably the same for our young people as well, is to to work against a kind of expectation, if you like, and break the mold. Matias,
No.
What do you reckon?
Brilliant.
Okay, and then any more?
Cecile said, I did not know about social entrepreneurs. Thanks, Matt. Quite enlightening.
Yeah, I agree. Quite enlightening indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Then Maria said, I've started volunteering my coaching services to Shore Trust. I help others who need someone in their corner, challenging them. I gain practice in my skill set as a coach. So it's a win-win situation.
Spot on, Maria.
Yeah.
Matias, what do you say to that?
Yes, she's brilliant.
Yeah. Is that something that you do as well, Matias? Do you give some of your time away as well?
Yes, absolutely. And I also agree with the people write about failure. I think you have to just take that word away from the dictionary. Telling teenagers, there's no thing as failure. It's just going to be considered as an opportunity to learn and grow.
Yeah, there's a lovely NLP presupposition that says actually there's no such thing as failure. There's only feedback and learning. And
Yes.
and I remember someone saying to me, well, I failed my English GCSE. Well, actually, you may have done. You may have failed your O levels or your English exam. But actually, why was that? It probably was because you didn't have a decent strategy or you didn't revise hard enough or whatever. So it's still feedback, And the key thing is that a failure doesn't have to be something we apply to our identity, right? A failure can just be something that's happened, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are a failure. It just means that something has failed. That's all. And actually, that means that as human beings, we can learn, pick ourselves up, and get better at it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If at first you don't succeed, try again. A bit like our Discord room, right?
Yeah.
Say again, Matt.
Great example.
Yeah. Okay. So, and Maria, just to encourage you there, with my coaching business, young people go free for me because that's so important. Other people, who are far higher up the kind of earning chain can afford the services quite rightly. And that enables me then to give, at least 10% of what I do are free to people that are in need, or any young person, in my opinion, that needs help goes completely free. I never charge for young people at all. And that's part of my being. I never thought I was a social entrepreneur, but maybe I've got a bit of a social entrepreneur streak, and definitely Maria has, there by the sounds of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think also just to add to the failure, it's a social norm that we need to break because society made it what it is.
Yes,
I mean,
like that.
Andrew, you talking about experiments earlier on. They literally split a class up in two, and they used the top achievers and said, you guys achieved very poorly, and they took the children that didn't achieve very well, and they said, you the top achievers, and then the kids that actually achieved very well or did well in school started failing.
Yeah. How interesting.
So yeah, it's a social norm thing. It's things that we as people have put in place for some reason that doesn't make sense. And we need to break that as adults and get that into the kids' minds that it's fine. You'll be okay. Everything will be okay.
Isn't that interesting?
So,
again, that whole psychological safety thing, and how we teach people and encourage them and cohere with them and collaborate with them and just encourage. Really interesting. Thank you for that, Berdine. Really interesting. What else is going on?
Cecile said, I think we need to encourage our young people with building a positive mindset because so many adults don't have it themselves, and they can easily be wrongly influenced by social media and, again, even some adults. Mindset is definitely an engine tool driving our life.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
What? Go on, Matias.
No, so that's a great point. I have to say, and I'm also using mindset in my workshops. You have a fantastic book called Mindset by Carol S. Dweck. Just explains brilliantly the difference between fixed and growth mindset, where the fixed mindset, it's more like, now, regardless of how many times I'm trying, I will never succeed. So no, I'm not going to do it. I'm a permanent failure.
Yeah.
And if you go towards the growth mindset, is okay, I did not have it right today, but through growing and experiences, then I will eventually get things right. I think that's a sort of mindset we have to teach kids.
Yeah.
I agree, Matias. And that was Carol Dweck, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant book, folks. We'll grab the link for you later and pop that in the feed if you've not. But it's a very famous book, and that whole thing about school children, it comes from there as well, Berdine, I think. But yeah, brilliant, and helping kids to really see that they can develop through growth, and that we're not fixed at all. Absolutely stunning. Yeah, dead right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Maria said, absolutely, we need to reframe the word failure.
Yeah.
She just wished that she had all of this wisdom years ago. Same, Maria, same. After my psychology degree, I wished I had that degree when I was in pre-primary school, to be quite honest. So it's something that's foundational that needs to be laid down already when kids are pre-primary. We can't keep this waiting till years and years after, because otherwise teachers have already laid that foundation of what in which little box they need to fit, because that happens so easily.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Yeah, I hear you, Maria. Marissa, I hear you, Berdine. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah.
Cecile, I'm just going to go through what Cecile said here. She said, I think failure has been stigmatized as negative and as a weakness, but this can be readjusted as in life. There are no failures, but experiences.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. No, yes. Where is it again? Let's just have a look. Yeah. There are no failures, just experiences. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Cecile. Absolutely perfect. Okay, look, we're going to give you a quick break for now, Matias, and we've got Simon Birchall hanging on for a moment. And just before I do that, so giving you just a quick break now, we're going to come back to you in a moment, Matias. It's intermission time, folks, and it's your DMS Get to Know You in 5 slot. And let me just get the jingle going. Where is it? So here we go. I think it's this one here. Right. Love that jingle. And a little bit about our sponsors. So your DMS are specialists in document management solution, folks, with over 20 years of experience in the document management DM industry, at your DMS. They say our knowledge and ability to translate and deliver technology to simplify the way organizations work has been proven time and time again. And as we make them more efficient, more effective, we can also save our clients money and enhance their engagement with their customers and suppliers. So I'd like to welcome, let's just bring the scene up, and let's just bring my friend Simon up. Let's just see if I can just bear with me. Here we go. Right. There he is. Hey, Simon, how you doing, mate?
How's it going, guys? You okay?
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant to see you. Oh, and a flag in the background as well. How topical. You're looking very smart this morning, sir.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.
Lovely.
Good to be here.
Yeah, so Simon, great to meet you online. We've interacted, with a few comments on Leaders Live Show. Groovy to see you in almost for real in the real life. Not quite, but we're honoured. And Simon, just chat to us for a while. What do you do? What are the things that are important to you, Simon?
What the company? Yeah.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that and a bit about yourself.
I'm the managing director of a company called Timeware UK Limited, and we specialise in time and attendance software.
Yeah.
Not the most exciting subject in the world, but you'd be surprised. Pretty much every business uses some sort of time and attendance, some time recording system. And in the old days, you would have seen clocking in machines on walls with people putting punch cards in and arriving for work and whatever. It's very similar to that. Modern versions use biometrics. So we have software that basically captures the time somebody arrives at work and feeds that information through to a payroll, and that's the simplified version of it.
Okay, so that makes the payroll a bit simpler because all the hours are recorded.
It's a lot easier. And the more you delve into this, the more complex this can become. So if you've got a company with very complex shift patterns or payment premiums or whatever, the system can cope with that, and it's amazing. There are companies there are small coffee shops that use the system with maybe 20 employees, right up to large PLCs with 20,000 employees. And that's basically it. So it's software that integrates with biometric devices manufactured by a company called Suprema.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, we work very closely with those chaps. And this has been developed over 36 years, I think it is now.
So you know what you're doing by now. Brilliant. Okay, so I get the hang of that. So, actually that might be useful for Jack as well, Jack Wright and his business to talk to you about stuff like that as well. So hopefully that'll be a connection. So tell us briefly, how can we help you directly, Simon? You come onto this live stream quite a bit. How can we help you, Simon?
It's interesting just listening to the guest and listening to I always think there's always something to learn, isn't there? Every day, listen to other people's sort of experiences in business, and it's invaluable. Never think you know everything. You should always be open-minded, listen to what other people have to say, and it's just interesting to picking up little bits here and there. It's just interesting the different guests that you have on, the different points of view, different people. It's I just find it's interesting. It's a good.
Yeah, it helps you learn and helps you to grow as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're talking about social entrepreneurship today. Is that something that and apprentices and things like that, which we're going to come on to in a moment? But what say you about this sort of subject, Simon?
Apprentices. We invest heavily in young people. Is that what you mean? Yeah. We tend to recruit from we recruit from college. We recruit young people, and I think it's very important that people have goals they can achieve. So, for example, what we do is we set decent pay levels for the youngsters. The young guys coming on board, so that they know within 12 months of training that they're actually on the. We use the living wage as a guideline. So the living wage for a 25-year-old is what they achieve after 12 months of working for us. So we'd like to pay a little bit more than we think that people. I won't say are worth. It sounds a bit horrible that, but we like to pay a little bit more than everybody else in the area. When you train people, you hold them, and what we also do, we find it's really important. We get people to come in and talk to these guys about how to look after the money. That's really important. So it's not just paying them well; it's sort of giving them advice on how they should be saving that money.
So sort of money management, right?
Yeah. Money management, it's sort of health and wealth. That's a big thing.
Love that. Health and wealth. Yeah.
You remember when you were 18, 19, the sort of the crazy things you spend your money on.
Money just slipped through your fingers, right? But actually what you're doing is doing something really interesting.
We're trying to teach them that. And also, a lot of the time, the guys are spending time away from the offices. So that would be the health part. So we have a nutritionist who will come in and talk to them, because it's easy when you're spending a week away from the office to eat rubbish every night. So it's all about looking after these guys, and then obviously they start to look after you, don't they? That's the whole idea.
I love that, and I know Jack Wright's listening, and Jack is a big advocate of health and well-being at work, and powerful. Matthias, any thoughts for you for Simon? Just interested to get you two interacting for. What are your thoughts on what Simon's doing at the moment?
Yeah, it sounds to me like you're doing interesting work, and I would love to read more about it.
Yes, it's not the most exciting subject in the world, but it's one of those things that's just present. You imagine you've got a company with 100 staff, and accurately recording the amount of time people are working and the amount of overtime. It's a very mundane subject, but it's a subject that's close to everybody's heart. If you're not being paid the right amount of money for the effort you've put in, for the work you've put in, the hours you've put in, then you're going to have a problem. And it's just as simple as that. So it's got to be accurate. That's the key. Accuracy.
Yeah, and you're growing them and their future families and things like that too. So there's the responsibility. I love that. Very, very nice. Yeah, and I was going to say something. It's just completely forgotten where I was going to head with that. Yeah, just really interesting to hear your take on that. And actually, Matias, there might be something that the two of you can possibly do with each other here to help. You with some leadership skills for Simon and his new recruits. But I think the whole apprenticeship thing is so important. And I've just remembered what I was going to do. Cecile's just said this actually. Thank you, Simon, and welcome. I'm a big fan of apprenticeships for all the reasons you cited. Health and wealth, which I teach my teen son to. Plus, it is a life experience that youth won't gain at school, and and particularly on the money management side as well. Yeah, lovely, Birdie.
Money management, that should be a big. It should be taught. It should be a big topic of schools, really.
Yeah. And we mentioned it earlier that we think that there's parts of the school system which are so focused on performance and just getting grades that all these things, just no time for it. And yet these are so important, these life skills. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Yeah. So Simon, look, get to know you in 5. We've got 5 quick questions for you. Hence, get to know you in 5, right? So what 3 words would you use to describe your leadership style then, Simon?
Yeah, it took me a while to try and jot these down. I asked the staff to help me with this yesterday.
Yeah.
About 25 of them I can't say on the air, but describe the leadership. Okay, motivational. I don't know if that's good. It's
motivational. Yeah, got it.
That's important. You've got to be approachable.
Okay.
And also, I think being hands-on. Things that you won't be prepared to do yourself, obviously, different skills and whatever, but I think those motivational, approachable, hands-on.
That is so important. I remember an ex-director that I worked with we worked with each other when we were a lot younger, and he used to say, look, I will employ people that I know that if the chips were down and we ended up just being a set of directors, we could open up shop in my garage, we could all roll our sleeves up and we could do the engineering work that we were doing when we were, youngsters, and just do it all over again, and that was his main sort of mantra for employing directors, so they could roll up their sleeves. Yeah. So for you, it was motivation, approachable, and hands-on.
I want to add to Simon's leadership skills.
Go for it.
So Simon, I would add inspirational, because you're giving young people the gap in the economy that they're looking for, that they won't find at any other business, because people don't want to take that risk by employing young people and giving them that gap to actually start growing and building their career and gaining the skills.
I tell you what's just going back to a point I made before. When somebody starts, well, I'll just tell you the way we do it. The first 2 bands, we have these banding levels for payment. When somebody's first employed, they're on the minimum wage for their age. Yeah, so it's not an apprentice level. It's the minimum pay for their age. After the 12 months, the living wage for a 25-year-old. So that's a big jump. Yeah. So you may be on 10,000, then you jump into 20, and it's a good goal to have. And one of the best bit, certainly the best thing for me is one of the best feelings is being able to offer somebody a job. That's fantastic. But not only that, another good feeling is being able to give somebody a rise, actually being able to say, listen, you've done a fantastic job, it's been an excellent year. And we have these banding levels, which are about £2,000 higher. So you're able to say, right, you're moving up a band, and it's a significant change to that person's life, and that's when the finances kick in, the money management skills kick in.
Spot on. I really like that responsibility approach. I just saw you nodding away there, Matias. Any thoughts you'd like to add to that, Matias, before I move to the next question?
Brilliant perspective, what you mentioned about responsibility. In my work, I feel like managers, they may be hesitant into giving too much responsibility to all the youngest ones, even though I would say if they give a bit more responsibility, they'll be surprised about the talents those guys are having and go for a completely new approach. Just when it comes to social media and those things, you know much more about that than I do myself these days. Brilliant helpers.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, well said. So, moving on, superpower. What's your superpower that helps you do what you do, Simon?
I thought about this. The ability to calm down any situation. I think that's probably the best I could come up with. So, whether it's a customer that's not happy or it's some team that's not performing, who can't get the work completed properly, or there's something going wrong, the ability to sit down with everybody and sort of analyse everything and pull the right people in. I'm not clever, but I've surrounded myself by clever with the right people.
Spot on. Yeah, you don't have to be the smartest in the room, do you? You have to employ smart people.
Yeah, that's it. And you glue people together. So just the ability to calm the situation. That's
and glue people together. I love that.
Yeah.
So, what's on your bucket list, Simon?
I haven't got a bucket list. I genuinely haven't got a bucket list. I had to think about this. I talked to my wife last night. I said, "What?" And she's got a bucket list, but that's when I've gone, and she's got the insurance.
You follow along. Good for you.
I genuinely, I've had a lot of targets in the past, and they've usually involved ridiculous things like fancy cars or buying things, material things. I've gone past that now. It's
well done. Good. Yeah. So just enjoying life. Yeah, love it. Yeah, I like that. To ask my wife.
Making sure that other people enjoy their lives. That's
brilliant. Yeah, I like. Yeah, and why not? Favorite band, Simon?
Okay, well, I'm in my 50s, so it would be the Stone Roses. Yeah, they were part of that Manchester scene, and the happy end and everything that came with that. It was definitely from what I can remember, it was a good time.
Well, I can hear that kind of Lancashire or Mancunian twang in your voice. So there we go. Yeah, it makes sense. 3 top business or leadership tips that you can pass on for young people.
Yeah, make sure your team's happy. Make sure they're happy.
Yeah, happy team.
Make sure the team's happy. You got to make sure that your team's happy and the customer's happy. Yeah, those are the 2 things. So with happy team, for me, it's regular social events. We have something called Free Food Friday.
I like that. Coming to your place on Friday.
That's good. With the customers, it's keeping in touch with them. You know, when you've got a customer, it's not about just raising an invoice at the end of the year for the maintenance for the next year. You've got to keep in touch with people. You've got to make sure that they're happy, that the system's performing well, etc. And another slogan that I use is it's nice to be nice, and it's really good to be good to people. You know, it's really good. The universe definitely works that way. You do something good, and that good things come back to you. To the power of 10. It's
absolutely. You smile, other people smile. You do good, people do good back to you.
Whatever it is, it's nice to be nice. You've got to do good things.
So happy team, happy customers, and nice to be nice. And you can tell, Simon, you're a real people person. So great to have you at the top of Timeware UK Limited. If was that
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Thanks ever so much, Simon. We're going to say goodbye to you now. Great that you've been on the show. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for supporting Leaders Live, and we'll see you on the other side as well. There's been a bit of love in the room for you as well. So Cecile says it's good to hear companies and workplaces wanting to generally look out for the younger generation. There you go. So thank you very much indeed. Your contact details, Simon's contact details are in the feed already. His LinkedIn feed, his mobile number and his email address, so you can get hold of him there. Simon, thanks for being a sport. Thank you for coming on. Brilliant to see you. We'll say goodbye to you now, and we'll get back to Matias.
Thanks, Simon.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, Simon.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Lovely. Okay, let's bring back our guest scene here then. Okay, so Matias, back to you. So I hope you found that a useful interlude sidebar, folks, and we're back to the show flow again, growing young people into our new leaders. I love that expression. So look, I'd like to get a sense of who you are, Matias. You know, you've got many talents. You're a digital nomad. You're a film actor. You're a musician. tell us a little bit about yourself, and all the things that you do, Matias, just to kind of give us a sense of who you are and how you approach your leadership stuff with that background of yours. Over to you.
Yeah, that's a long question to answer, to be honest. Can I just trying to think how to narrow it down? So, yeah, you're all right, Andrew. I'm doing many different things through my career so far. So, I think when I was finished at school, I was serving in the military. That's perhaps the place I learned about leadership firsthand. Even though you had, they could be quite hard, most of them. But you also had those fantastic leaders. They're always fair.
Yeah.
And that's how I was learning about. That's the leadership I would like to adapt in the future. And music. It has always been a big part of my life since I was quite young. But my parents were really into rock music, and they introduced me to Rolling Stones and Bruce Springsteen and Pink Floyd from an early age. And
Pink Floyd.
then when I was in my teens, I was also starting to play guitar myself, and started to purchase loads of CDs I used to play all day, and it became a part of my life and a great way to express yourself, and also just taught me about the importance of having those creative activities to do, not when you have to, but whenever it suits you, because you truly enjoy it.
Yeah, and so that was your formative years, and then how did you get into youth leadership? What's the link there for you? What was the passion that drives you?
Yeah, I would say this in Norway, where I was growing up, I always had friends, but in the schools where I was at, I was always noticing that you always have those sort of gang and clique mentality among loads of them. And when I was starting in upper secondary in particular, it became a challenge for myself and a few others when you have like 10, 12 people. They've been knowing each other since they were basically in kindergarten. They're not coming in 10 years later, and it's really hard to break through in that age. And of course, this was also affecting the class environment, not only for the students, but also the teachers alike. And then I was thinking, why is this like happening that we can't just all collaborate, but now they just want to stay with the same cliques and so on. And we can also see a pattern in modern day schools that, you have some people getting along greatly, but not everyone. And such they will empower those already being in the gang. But I'm thinking, how about just disband the gang permanently and instead encourage and include everyone to create a fantastic experience for all, and to execute true leadership by playing on people's strengths and spending time with people you would not normally spend time with. You'll be surprised how much you can learn from doing that. And also, if the teacher is being a clear leader, a clear role model into the behavior they expect to see.
I really like that. And you talked about playing to people's strengths, and you do some film acting and sort of filmmaking. Tell us about that a little bit and how that links to the young people that you're developing, Matias. That's an interesting link.
Yeah, I've been doing film acting for the past year or so. I've been studying, and I'm doing that as a side hustle. So my first film, I had a bit longer beard back then. That was on a film. It's called Leave. I think it's coming this October. Then I was being hired, going to portray a metalhead in that scene. So there I was attending a concert with my girlfriend that I met 10 minutes prior, and it was a great experience just to be on the set and see how the magic is happening and see how those things are working, and just loved it. And then the next spring, I was being hired to portray a guitarist in a music video because I knew how to play guitar and I also had the right clothes. And then when I was going to Ireland for my graduation and some other stuff, by pure coincidence, I was being picked in to playing in a film called Dublin Crust. It's coming quite soon. I was having a friend from my message saying, Matias, they're going to make this film in Dundalk. You have to show up. This is a great opportunity. And so I also just seized the opportunity. And again, I was an extra role, being a guy going to a concert, this time with my younger sister. And then it was the band perform. And yeah, it was great to be a part of. And this work as an extra eventually led me to land my first lead role this May. The film I've been sharing. It's called Disky Business.
Oh yes, and that's on LinkedIn, right? We'll grab the link and we'll put it into the LinkedIn group for people. Yeah,
Let's do.
Yeah.
And link between creating movies and youth work. Yeah, there's in quite a few of those productions. There's been students in filmmaking, and in a few of them, you also have those youth groups. They don't get paid; it's not part of their studies, but they create films just for fun.
Yeah.
And along the process, they're being trained by professionals from the film industry. And such a way, this is a fantastic springboard, because they don't need any qualifications to be a part of those groups. They just need to be interested. They have to show up. They have to develop ideas and doing things this way.
I like that. Interest, show up. And what was the third thing there?
They show up and they need to be that is an approach towards continuous learning.
Ah, yeah,
Like, and receive a constructive feedback. Very cautious about constructive, and then they learn and then they develop new films. And they also have those festivals. We're having awards, perhaps not as big as the Oscars, but still,
but still,
achievements.
I
Part of an award-winning film.
Yeah, it was an award-winning film. Did you just say? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What award was it again?
Yeah, it was the award for best fictional film. I created a course of this. So this was made by students just starting in upper secondary, and apparently it's also going to be shown at the Bergen International Film Festival, and perhaps also in more festivals. And these guys are so young and so talented, and still they can create great things because they're having the creative liberty. They're also having professional advices.
Yeah, I like that. Creative liberty with professional people helping them. And creating films for fun is what you said. And those are the springboards that then help them to gain the confidence in life to do other things and apply the learnings of doing film, which is quite scary in some ways, going live on camera. And you've got to collaborate, you've got to have a kind of collegiate mindset, and all of the things that you're teaching, you can teach through film, right? By the sounds of it.
Indeed.
Wow. Wow. That's smart. I like that. Listen, we're coming to an end shortly. And Maria just says here, brilliant discussion this morning. Great to meet you, Simon. Thank you, Matias. Okay, she needs to leave now, and I will catch up with this later. So yeah, fabulous psychology safe space right here. Yeah, spot on, Maria. She comes out with some lovely phrases. Brilliant. Yeah, bang on. And that's what we're hoping to produce. That's what we aim to produce when we're doing Leaders Live. Absolutely. So final question for you, and these are dying moments now, but what are your plans for building and developing your own startup venture? And how can we help you, Matias? What are you trying to build? Yeah,
I would say I'm in the early startup phase. So it's about doing loads of research, which I'm doing. And you also have to talk to your target group, which I'm also doing. And I'm going to loads of events just to meet the different people and perspectives and just to create a name. And right now, I'm also part of something called Batteriet, which means in English, the battery. And it's a resource center for social entrepreneurs. We're having personal guidance, and we're also having loads of tips from other people at the battery. I can say, okay, so you need help with legal stuff, you should contact this organization. And okay, you need some financial advice, you contact this organization. And it's so helpful when everyone can collaborate and support and help each other that way. It makes the journey so much fun and so much easier.
Yeah, and how's that supported? Is it a local authority thing? Do people pay into it? How does it finance itself? the battery?
The battery, it's being financed by the municipality of Bergen and the state. That's why those initiatives are working in Norway in most places. I think depends. And then they're having one working full time, another one part time, and then you have to apply, and you need to have a conversation with the leader who's running the battery, and then you figure out if that's a great match, and if this, they're going to help you and they're going to give you guidance. And
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Lovely. So they give you, that hub gives you kind of guidance and puts you in touch with other people, and is a resource hub for other things as well. Yeah.
yeah, that's great.
Okay. And what's your blueprint, Matias? What's the kind of blueprint that you use to develop leadership in young people, or is that something you're still developing?
Yeah, I'm still in the developing phases, even though I'm having a few core foundations, is what I am doing. So I am from day one. That's what I'm saying. The first one, I would say we're all leaders
Yeah.
in one sense. It's all about how to you become true, authentic, and good leaders. Those things I'm focusing on from day one.
So
And then-
authenticity, and we're all leaders, yeah, and encouraging that authenticity.
Yeah, and also collaboration.
And then collaboration, yeah, learning how to collaborate. Okay. And you do that through what sort of mechanisms? Film is one of them, I take it. What are the other things that you do to help to kind of engender authentic leadership and collaboration, Matias?
Yeah, what I am doing, I'm currently establishing workshops. It's going to be a series. It's typically workshops for teenagers and those who don't fit into the traditional schools and educational system. So they may have, for various reasons, dropped them out. And then what I see as recurring reasons for this, they don't find it purposeful to go to school, and that's not really what drives them. So that's what I am through the workshops, trying to help them with. And also trying to make them more aware of their values and what is the life you would like in the future, and then what's your main interests, and how can you encourage those interests into creating the life that you want. And when you become more aware of those things, it's also easier to gain direction in life.
That, and back to purpose again and direction. And I love the way you're kind of linking authentic leadership to collaboration, to values, to future goals, because that's important for young people to have something to aim for. As Simon said, one of the things that he does is set goals for the future, and some of those might be financial, but they're big leaps for them, which means that when they get more money and they can manage that better, then that gives them more freedom to do whatever they want to do and express themselves in life. And I love that link that you've got to playing to their strengths and interests, and those are so important, those aspects of leadership. And it sounds like you're designing those all in your new workshops for Matias Global Lead, right? Global Leader, which is your business, I take it, your startup.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Well, we've got your contact details in the feed right now. So thank you, Matias. We're going to just sort of end the show very shortly, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for being on, and we'll pick you up again on the other side in the Discord group for the Backstage Rowdies, which is our kind of exclusive VIP group that people can join. So we'll finish up there in a moment, but thank you ever so much, Matias, for being part of us today and sharing your insights. And I'm really great and honoured to be part of an extraordinary conversation with you, Matias. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
No, you're very welcome. So quickly from our point of view, so listen out for a new service coming out called Fishbowl Fridays, folks, where we intend to focus on particular company product or service, more insight, get to know something through demos, and a business through demos or products or whatever, and services too, and that kind of whole insights behind the scenes as well. So we're still designing that, but thanks again, Matias, for enlightening us today with an extraordinary conversation. We loved having you on the show, my friend, This show will be on podcast too very shortly, folks, so watch out for that. And please join our LinkedIn Leaders Live group. Keep the conversation moving there. And we're going to head over to the Discord group for the Backstage Rowdies in a moment. And also follow us on our company page too. We're growing there. And remember to subscribe to YouTube. All these things we've got to do. All the links will go into the feed very shortly. And before I get on to what's new, quick reminder that, look, Leaders Live is a free show, folks, for leaders, directors, entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs that we talked about today, and anybody that's interested in business growth through edutainment and enjoying taking part in interactive, extraordinary conversations just like we've had today. So together with this community, we aim to make the world better, folks, and we want to bring a spirit of freedom, joy and fun through the feel good factor in all of our working lives. So that's a little bit about us. And then just very quickly, if you're interested in what I do, my commercial offerings, I run a team leadership and development consulting called PDX Consulting. Please contact me if you need any help for effective leadership, sales, operations, teams, working with your team so people can operate their very best to run successful, profitable businesses and to give back to society, as we've said today. So please contact me if you need any help with any of those things. I do high performance teamwork, executive and team coaching, and NLP for business diplomas and salespeople, etc. So that's a little bit about me. And the goose for next week, folks, let me just bring that up. So here's the goose for next week. Next show will be on Tuesday the 20th of September at 8:45 UK time, folks, and we'll be hanging out with Jackie Leonard again. She was on a few months ago. She's the L&D manager of Bangor University and owner of JL Consultancy, and Jackie was on the as I said, was on the show a few months back, and we were talking about authentic customer experiences from her book. And we went through the first 3 of her 7 principles. We're going to go through the other 4 when we speak to Jackie again next week. So that's coming up. So this and a whole lot more. Be there or be square, folks. So thank you again, Matias, for coming on the show today. And we've loved having you. And you can bop out to this music here, folks. And so it's a rap, folks. So thanks for hanging out with us. Matt, Matias, Berdine, we wish you a great week ahead. Cheers for now, and we'll bop out to this intro music. So thanks again, folks. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye now. We'll see you on the other side for those of you in the Discord group. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.